Hi, my name is Cloudy, and just a heads up, I don't want to overwhelm you the whole time with the zoom in face camera angle like this, but today I'm going to do kind of a tutorial based video. So I think I'll be sitting like this the whole time, so it's better off to start with it. The other day my friends actually asked me, he's a boy and he knows that I'm a girl who's into makeup, so he asked me if I know any tips to correct or like fix a concealer that's slightly off. So like I think sometimes he struggle with dark circles. Those are the moments that he needs to use a little bit of concealer, and because he's a boy, so sometimes he couldn't perfectly get the shade match. I was like, what I do in the beginning is that I try to go to the store and get the shade match. So like try in store, but I think that tip isn't helpful at all. And it made me think about me in the beginning as a makeup beginner who tried to learn all of the tips and tricks about how to do my makeup. And I didn't have any useful sources, or maybe at the time when I was in Vietnam I couldn't get access, or I didn't know the way to get access to those useful sources, you know what I mean? And makeup back in the day, 2018, 2017, was so different from the way that I'm doing my makeup right now. And even right now, seeing how makeup on YouTube have evolved into the next stage, which is more product based. So you've seen some of your favorite YouTubers, they don't do the content about how to do makeup anymore. They do content about what product is the best, what product is the worst, and it's overwhelming in a way. So I guess what I want to do is a video not only for the content that I want to do, but for my younger self and for people who are in the same stage at their makeup journey, just like I was before, when they're trying to figure out how to do their makeup, how to get things in the easiest way. And yeah, just to answer that questions from my friend, I'm sorry I didn't give you a useful advice because it's kind of like was in a rush and I couldn't figure out a way, but today I'm gonna answer that question to you. I'm not sure if you're watching this, but yeah, this is for you. First of all, let's apply some sunscreen. I'm using the sunscreen from Everyday. It's the Golden Glow Dream Screen. It has SPF 50 plus in it. I think sunscreen is already like a cold, it's not like a cold, it's a widely accepted skincare lash makeup adjacent product with tested benefit. So a lot of people have trust and simply consider sunscreen as a reliable step to their skincare routine. So I think generally people across the world have a common consensus about dermatological benefits and of sunscreen in general. I don't know what I'm talking about, but you know what I mean. Or in terms of skin protection, UVA, UVB protection, something like that. And I've learned that in the beginning. I feel like I started to use sunscreen not like early in my teenage years, because it was different in Vietnam. It was different. I'm not gonna go in depth about it, but since I hit like 17, 18, I knew that I needed to have a sunscreen in my skincare routine, and I'm thankful for that. But then I learned that not only that you have to apply your sunscreen every day, which I have done for the last few years, but also you need to reapply it throughout the day. And not only that you have to reapply it, but also you need to remove whatever on your face to get rid of all the residual dirt and makeup, then reapply the same skincare routine and finish with sunscreen. Well, to me it makes sense. Kind of scientifically makes sense, if it ever does. But I don't think that there's a majority of people who are using sunscreen would agree that, oh, that's really practical and that's something that we can do because we have a job. We have to go to school, we have to go to uni, we have to go to work. And how can we spend the entire morning, that happens to me, to do skincare, makeup, hair, everything, and then in the middle of the day try to remove all that to reapply sunscreen? So I think it's always a conundrum. It's always a complex problem about what's good and what's the best. The whole apply and reapplying sunscreen is the best thing that we can do. But if we can just, in a way, incorporate sunscreen into your everyday routine, making it become a habit, I think that's good. I think that's better than applying nothing. And I stand by that. So I don't think that there should be a pressure to have a life with a bunch of time privilege to do the whole thing from start to finish, from applying and removing, reapplying, the whole thing like that. That whole sequence is, I don't say a waste of time, it's time consuming. And if you can do it, if you have the time to do it, I don't think it would be a waste of time and your effort. It's just an acknowledgement that something is advertised as, okay, this is the best for you, not necessarily something that we can actually do. So we can find a slightly worse alternative, which is applying sunscreen every day and finding a sunscreen that's gentle for your skin, not greasy, it's not oily, if that's not what you're looking for, glowy. If you're looking for a glowy sunscreen, try to find a sunscreen that works for you, coming from a reliable brand. That's important too. And yeah, I think that's a good thing, not to say good enough thing to do. Fixing your slightly off shade concealer. I want to demonstrate two concealers today. This is not technically a concealer, it's just a zinc stick, like a sunscreen stick. It's tinted, but is close enough to a concealer shade that I could use, so I've been using it as a concealer. And I'm gonna apply that to this side of my face. And you can tell because it's not a concealer, it's slightly gray and olive to my skin tone. And I didn't even notice it until like this morning, like recently, when I was thinking about, okay, how can I show people how I fix a slightly off concealer, and I was thinking about this. And yeah, it's because it has zinc oxide in it. Maybe it's the reason why it's a bit grayish. Also, it could be the nature of the product. It doesn't meant to be a full coverage, highly pigmented product. So it's slightly up, not terribly up. But on this side of my face, I'm gonna apply this L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer. This is a very light concealer to me. Okay, another tip. Don't over apply any complexion product. That was a huge mistake for me, because in the beginning when I saw people applying cushioned, Korean YouTubers, they were applying cushions and they looked beautiful on them and good for them. And when I was watching like YouTuber from the United States, they were wearing foundations, like full coverage foundation, and I feel like, I need to get a full coverage foundation. So I bought the Maybelline Fit Me foundation. Do you remember that? It was such a huge mistake. We don't need that kind of coverage for day-to-day basis. And now I'm hesitant to say it because I know some people, they need foundations for their routine and it's just essential. But if I can give advice to a makeup beginner, so if I have like a little niece or if I have like a younger who came up to me and asked if is there any complexion product she could start with in terms of makeup, I would recommend her to get a concealer rather than a foundation. It's just more versatile. You just like right away don't need a bunch of coverage that you cannot, not that you cannot, but you have not yet achieved the capability to deal with it. So you apply so much product on your face and now it would take longer to blend. It would take more skills to blend. Like, we're talking about skills. It wasn't like at your level in the beginning. Maybe start with something easier to deal with and then build up from that. With 2 concealers on either side of my face right now, I'm gonna blend them out. And the key is always start with a small amount and try to blend them out first. And then if you feel like, I know some people, they struggle so badly with the dark circle, just be patient. Start with something easy first, a very small amount, knowing that you can control it, and then add another layer if you feel like it's not enough. Now you can control both processes. I hope it makes sense. This one, not horribly bad, just slightly off. This one, a bit peachy, a bit light. And sometimes with like light concealer, if you happen to buy like 2 light concealer, it would turn your dark circle even darker. It's not like make them darker visually, but somehow the halo of darkness just become more visible. It's kind of an emphasis that you're trying to conceal it, but then it still peek through. You can tell this one is a bit better because you can see it's darker from the stick. This one is completely light. So like I think it's like a shade lighter than my actual shade. Okay, and how to fix them both. If your concealer is too light and it has a tendency to oxidize, maybe just wait for it to oxidize. But I know my experience with this one is not gonna oxidize, so it's gonna stay like this. And even when you have like a concealer that's darker than your skin tone, you can just use a translucent loose setting powder. This one is not from Innisfree, it's just a loose baby powder that I purchased and put it in this container. You can choose a proper loose setting powder. You can go to the drugstore, you can go to any makeup store that you trust and get a loose setting powder like this, or you can just use baby powder. And I read the ingredient list. I don't see any major irritants to my skin, but if your skin is extremely sensitive, it will always be a hazard to apply any sort of product to your skin, so that you have to be aware of. But to me, I haven't had any problem with using baby powder. It's like a lightweight loose setting powders. It's so lightweight, it's so finely milled, it's more finely milled than some of other loose powder that I've tried, and I'm really surprised. And you just have to apply it under your eyes. And now so that's it. I feel like this side is a bit dry because of the texture of my skin today, but the tone is actually better than before. I feel like, so the key takeaway is that you can use a setting powder to fix your concealer shade. If you don't want to get rid of the concealer, if it's slightly off, slightly too light, slightly too dark, you can fix it with a loose setting powder. It can be translucent, it can be slightly pigmented. So I have this Too Faced Peach Perfect setting powder. It's very old, but I'm still using it. but this one has a slightly peachy pink undertone to it. And I also have this number 7 translucent perfect light loose powder. It has this a bit yellow, like warm skin tone like undertone to it, so you can fix it with a slightly tinted setting powder. And I think loose settings powder is always a bit easier to work with than powder in a compact. Powder in a compact, sometimes they are advertised as foundation, powder foundations. That could also be a trigger because it's pigmented. And they are also very high in density, like you could, sometimes they are very soft and finely milled, but most of the time there's a very compacted, there's very hard pressed, not in a bad way though, it's the way that it is formulated to give us that kind of coverage. But overall it's too pigmented, a bit tricky to work with. So start with a loose setting powder with the undertone that you think you can use it to manipulate and fix your concealer shade. Okay, next up is you need to pick a liquid velvet lipstick formula and then multitask with it. So I pull out a couple of formulations that I believe that I can use both of them on my lips, also on my cheeks, because maybe it's just the time. So the time that I started to learn how to use makeup, cream products were not a thing. No one talked about cream blushes, maybe cream contour, but like cream bronzer, cream highlighter, I haven't heard much. But now today it's all about cream products, and there's something fun about using them. There's something very easy, something very natural and functional about using them. So I really enjoy using cream blushes right now. But yeah, so I wish someone had told me that pick a velvet creamy lipstick formula and then try to blend on your cheeks and make it your stable blush color. So that's what I'm going to do right now. But first of all, I'm gonna swatch these shades so that I can tell you the kind of formula, the kind of texture that you should looking for if you want to use it on your cheeks. Just personally, these are the ones with the right texture, right consistency that I feel like could work on my cheek, and I have tried it and they really worked. So this is the, it's not about the product. I think some of these are already discontinued, they no longer exist, but this is the L'Oreal Matte Gloss. Yeah, they literally call it matte gloss. So it's matte, velvety, but moussey. So this is the L'Oreal Matte Gloss in the shade Nude Allude. This beautiful shade. This is the ColourPop Luxe Velvet Lipstick. I don't think that they sell this anymore, but I love the shade. It's called Air Kiss. Once again, very moussey, soft, and velvety texture. So the L'Oreal is a bit glossier than the ColourPop. I give this BBIA. This is the shade 12. This is a burnt orange. Also creamy, velvety. They are not drying, super pigmented and crackly liquid lipstick formula. So I think they would be very great on your cheek. And the last one is the Black Rouge. I don't know if you are into Korean makeup or if you're in Vietnam or any Asian country, you would recognize these. So I have the shade 827. So this is like a cool tone red with a lot of purple and blue undertone. Yeah, based on the swatches, I feel like they have not dried out yet. So you would have a decent amount of time to work with them if you go for this kind of texture and use it both on your cheeks and your lips. And today I think I'm gonna go for the ColourPop one, but I'm gonna use it only on my cheeks because I have another tip related to lip that I want to try. So I'm gonna try like the L'Oreal one or like one of the other shades. So just one on the cheeks only. And actually, back in the day, people believed that you had to apply all cream product beneath and then set it with setting powder and then apply powder product on top. And I was like, it makes sense, but I don't follow that theory anymore. Right now, I know the amount of powder I apply. Okay, here's the deal. I think it makes sense when you over applying powder and you need the separation between liquid phase and powder phase. But if you just apply a adequate amount of powder, not overly thick, or try to give it a full matte finish, well then you can actually use either cream or powder in any other that you like. And cream products are just so versatile. You can place it in a lot of area and try to plan them out without worrying that, oh, it's too much. I went too hammer with it. You can just keep blending. Especially when you use like a wet sponge, you can really absorb a lot of excess product if you feel like. But you don't have to place product strategically anymore. Like, okay, certain area for contour, certain area bronzer, and this area is for blush, and then highlighter should be on certain point. In terms of makeup theory and color theory, it makes sense because that's the structure of your face. If you want to alter your face when you look at your face like in certain angles, you can. I think it's still valid if it's professional makeup techniques. But to differentiate between professional makeup versus everyday makeup, which most makeup beginner need, you need to tell us, okay, this is what professionals they do. But because you haven't learned much of those techniques, you haven't get yourself used to the mindset of playing with makeup, maybe you should start with something that's a little bit disorganized, but it has some theory-based approach to it. You know what I mean? So I think it was a bit confusing and lost to me in the beginning, so that I need to follow all of the rules people was telling me to do something. I need to follow all of that so that I can do with makeup, or else I wouldn't be a proper makeup artist. I don't try to be a makeup artist. I just try to be someone who could do my makeup, and that would be the difference. Okay, let's do something with the eye. I'm not gonna do anything too complicated right now. Yeah, because I literally don't have time. I'm a bit running out of time. But we're gonna do something simple because that's what an imager needs. And don't start with something too complicated. I'm just gonna use like a flat eyebrow pencils. And I think I would love to be told that you just need to use a brow pencil like this and you don't need to do too much on your brows depending on the conditions of your brow. So if you don't have a lot of hair on your brows, that's the point when you need to consider to use like a micro tip to actually draw on the hair. Or if you feel like you want to match your brow with your hair color, maybe you dye your hair in a different color, maybe you consider to use a brow pomade. But if you feel like you don't need to like redraw the whole shape of your brow, some people really need like a certain type of brow shape. So like they want it to be a little bit straight, they need it to be a little bit arched. But actually, I feel like spending too much time on your brows in the beginning is a good practice, nevertheless. But to me, I feel like I don't care about brows that much. So yeah, I spend like 30 seconds to do my eyebrow, and that's what I'm doing on the daily basis. So I think I feel okay with it. I fill in some of the spot. I just bully it out so that my eyebrow have like more of an even look, and I think that's enough. And if you have like an eyeshadow palette, so I pull this palette out. This is a Hershey Creamy Chocolate Play Color Eyes Mini. Not particularly this formatted palette, but I believe in the beginning we were all starting with a neutral eyeshadow palette like this, with like a gradient, a lighter brown to a darker brown with some shimmers. I think it's quite of a standard starter palette, and I think everyone should get it. Like not right now, but if you try to get into makeup, maybe like this one is a really good place to start. And right now you can find it in any brand who is doing neutral makeup, if that makes sense. But I think this is 6-pan eyeshadow is quite a standard and like of a must in a makeup beginner starter kit. You could have like a dark brown like this. You can use this as a brow powder. It could just perfectly get the job done, and you don't have to go to the other extent to purchase any more brow products. For the eye look today, I think I just have to use like one matte shade, and that would be it. And no one, like I said, 2018, no one told me that you can just use one matte brow to do your entire look. Jeez. I'm going to dip into these two shades because I think they are kind of the right intensity that I need today. They always teach you to do a full glam makeup look. And to be honest, up to this day, I still think that they look so gorgeous. But they are not for me. What is the occasion that I could actually go that glamorous? I don't party. I don't go to special events. I haven't gone to a wedding since I was 3, to be honest. And even right now, if I am invited to like a special event like that, I would just go for like natural makeup. And I think it's because of a trend. And you can notice that like during the pandemic, people started to be more into skincare and personal care and other problems in their life rather than doing a full glam makeup like that. So the majority of people right now have already shifted to the next wave of natural makeup. It always exists. Natural makeup is always exists, but right now is more high up there in terms of virality rather than full glorious makeup. And I guess I just didn't learn my color scheme, my color story, my own reference when it comes to makeup back in the day, because people were using warm browns, oranges, gold topper shade. So I was like, okay, that was trendy, so maybe I should have followed that. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it's how our brain interpret the world throughout the things that we learned. But I would just love to be taught that you need to pick your own thing. So you don't have to try and learn and adapt everything and adopt everything that the world tells you to do. You just have to do a few things that you really need to do. And even with a thing like eyeliner, so when people do the liquid liner, like a black liquid super huge wing, and you think that is so trendy, and everybody did that, every single body did that, and you feel like, oh, that's the right thing to do with makeup. Or more abstractly, it's kind of, makeup is just like a very small corner of making arts in general. Like, you can say that if you think it's trendy. Also, like making music or making movie, if you think it's trendy and everybody's doing it, and you think that it can make you become a cool kid by doing it, oh well, then why wouldn't you try it? But then, is it you who doing it, or you doing it for the version of yourself that you think it might be cool to try to become? Have you already become yourself by doing that? Or it's just a waste of time not being the person you want to become? Is it gonna practice on yourself? Is it like you in the entire process and you can see yourself growing and learning and become better throughout the process, and you feel like at the end, I kind of look like the image that I would love? Nah. So back to the eyeliner story. People were doing all of the liquid eyeliner, big wing thing, but it turns out a gel cream eyeliner is the key. It's the key to a natural and simple, really quick makeup look. So I was using the Kind eyeliner in the shade brown, and once again, if you have a neutral palette, just use the brow, just use like maybe the dark brown right here, and use it as your powder eyeliner and make a wing out of it. It's so much easier. I believe you already know that if you like into makeup in long enough, you probably already know. And I guess if you already into makeup long enough, you already know all about these tips and ups and downs and fluctuations in makeup trend throughout the year. But it's so strange right now to remember what was considered to be good back in the day and what's considered to be trendy or viral nowadays. But I don't think there's like waiting to both of that, like which one's better, which one is the right way to do. It's about how changes put an impact on you, and then you figure out, okay, this is what I should do regardless of the changes surrounding me. This is the right way that I should stick to, and then maybe sometime every once in a while I can like, you know, flicker out of it a little bit, but this is the right path. This is my belief system that I'm gonna follow to the end of the line. Not that deep, but just saying. Finally, it's a lipstick hack, like a lip product alteration theory. I didn't come up with it. I've been seeing it like throughout the years. It's been there for a while. So if you have a liquid lipstick or a bullet lipstick or any sort of lipstick, you can actually slightly alter the finish a little bit, so it feels like you have a variety of lip products, but it's just one. So this one is a matte gloss from L'Oreal, so I'm gonna apply it as it originally is to my lips. It's very pigmented, and I really like this color. I really like this lipstick. Right now with this particular formula, I think it's a bit too, it's very comfortable. It doesn't cling into my lip lines. It's very moussey and overall comfortable, like wearing my lips. But I figure it's a bit too glossy. And yeah, you see it, yeah, it's sticking my lips together. So I'm actually gonna blot it using tissue paper. Yeah, once again, I think I've learned about it, but like, yeah, I just wish that someone has talked about it more frequently so that I remember to do it, because it's such a useful tip to play with your makeup. So just, actually I removed too much lipstick. Now I think I'm gonna reapply a little bit. Yeah, you can see like the stain is still there, and it's also like a gorgeous mauvey color. It's such a beautiful shade. Just a little amount like this. I'll tap it out. So now it's like full matte. It's really matte. And I really like a matte lips. But now I actually want to make it glossy. So if you're dealing with a lipstick that's too matte, you can actually make it a bit glossy by applying a lip balm on top. It's not mind-blowing, it's definitely not mind-blowing, but sometimes because we were struggling with the shopping, with the retail therapy mentality. So when you think that, oh, the lipstick is too matte, I need another lip gloss to go on top, and you think that a lip gloss is a situation. Did you see that the problem is not that you missing a lip gloss? The problem is this formulation is too matte. What can I do with things I already have that would make it a little bit less matte? So I have this Lanolips ointment with me. It's a clear lip balm, and I believe we all have a lip balm or a chapstick, right? Or I could be wrong by making that assumption. So yeah, just scratch my ideas if you think that they are bullshit. I will blame you for that. See? Right now, it doesn't look like matte lipstick anymore. It's actually a gloss. So from a really glossy lipstick, you can blot it out to make a little bit matte, to make it a little bit velvety and a bit flawless. But if you think that it's always too drying, you can apply a clear lip balm on top and making it to the glossiness that you want. So the problem is how much you can multitask with your product rather than going out and buying new products. So that's what I feel like. And I think we finished with the look. It's been a while since I was sitting here, and I just want to say one last piece that nobody actually told me that some days, no matter how I do, no matter how I look, no matter how I feel, I'm gonna feel that I'm ugly anyway. And no one can take that feelings away from me. It wasn't wrong to feel that way, and I don't need anyone across the world, like thousands and thousands of kilometers apart from me, to tell me that I'm beautiful. You're beautiful no matter what. Everybody's beautiful. No, that's not true. Some people are more beautiful than the others, and appearance is something that's very tangible. It's more important. It's more complex than you think it is. It's not just how you can tell someone to feel about themselves, and that would be the way that they actually feel. Think about the way that they actually experience in life, how they are brought up to be, what their background, what their experience with their personality, with their sexuality. That could be the reason why they don't feel the way that they should feel, like in terms of your opinions. So it's really tough to just tell people randomly on the internet that like you're beautiful, you matter no matter what. That doesn't make sense, because you don't understand their circumstances. It doesn't mean you can take away the right for them to feel the way that they feel. And I strongly believe that by exploring the root causes of your problem, of what make you feel ugly, of what make you feel like unworthy, you can actually solve that rather than hyping up yourself using random words of affirmation. Yeah, that's it. That's what I want to say today. And once again, I'm Cloudy, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it's helpful. I'll see you again, hopefully.